the path that people take, right? If the reason people getting into Bitcoin is because they go to speculate on some altcoins, and then they make some money, they get wrecked, and they come to Bitcoin.
Mhm.
That's fine with me, but I don't want to be the guy telling them to go get wrecked on the altcoins, right? Like somebody's got to put their face on it and pump it, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not going to be that guy. I'd rather be the guy that said, "See, I told you to buy Bitcoin." And what I do think is like I do want to help people keep their private keys and protect their shit in this sort of internet wilderness. Um, and that's one of the things that I like to do. But yeah, so
So
that's
like,
why I say that it's pragmatic,
so
right?
you
It
should
depends what
probably,
role in
you
the
have to upgrade your advice and break it into two parts. Technically, these coins are dog shit. They have no reason to exist. They have no adoption. They have bad teams. They have bad security. They have no audits. Everything that is bad, everything that could possibly be bad, it's the wrong thing to do, done by the wrong people at the wrong time in the wrong way, at the wrong price point with too much dilution. Like everything possible is wrong. However, people are fucking stupid and they will buy
super
this shit into the sky, and you will watch the price pump outdo any gains you've ever seen in your entire life. And then the unlucky bastards at the end will lose it all, but the people that were in at the beginning will get insanely retardedly rich, right? And then if you give them both of those components and you say, listen, technically it's horrible, but if you short a shitcoin, you will go broke, right? Because someone that locked up the supply will just buy from himself and pump that price up until you're fucking liquidated. Like, the world is not fair. You can't short shitcoins. Like, it's dangerous, right? And even if you shorted Ethereum from $1,400 down to zero, you made $1,400 on your $1,400. But what if you just waited for it to fucking bottom out at zero and bought $1 worth? You would have, and it went back up to 1,400. You made the same $1,400 on $1, which means you could have made 1,400 times more money by putting in your whole $1,400 by buying the bottom instead of selling the top, right? So
right.
every long and short equals out, not including fees. So if a long made $1,000, the short lost $1,000. However, in order for the short to lose the 1,000, he had to put in 1,000. Like, you have to pay a lot more to make money shorting than you have to make money longing. So
Gotcha.
like, to make the same money, you'd have to be right twice. It would have to drop all the way down to where you guessed and then go back all the way up to the top again, and then you'd both make the same money percentage wise.
Yeah,
So,
you know what's fascinating? Well, most people in the world are not, they're nowhere near the level of education that we're talking about as far as financial sort of literacy. Like they're most people are financially illiterate, practically speaking. They go through school, like the school is shit. They go through university, specialize in one thing, go to work, and then expect a 9 to 5 for the rest of their lives and hopefully retire. Like that's more or less the standard track even today, even with the internet. And so people don't, and especially in the United States, like the accredited investor sort of rules prices out a huge amount of people. And so maybe crypto is the role that it's playing, whether we like it or not, is just a massive education in financial literacy. And that's the game. And people go in and play with their money, and the best win and the worst lose. And there's the opportunity to make real money. I'm not justifying it, but like that's basically what it is. And I honestly like,
but
I
those
don't
are
like the
opposite
fraud.
positions. Those are opposite positions. So if you don't like shitcoins because people are getting scammed, then you have to understand that the security laws only exist to prevent the legalized version of those shitcoins from scamming. So like, what exactly is so fucking wrong with having to disclose conflicts of interest or give people time to do things or make, like the security? It's so easy for libertarians and anarcho-capitalists to talk about how shitty laws are, because the laws have been doing a good job at removing all of the examples that, if you remembered them, would let you know why we have those laws in the first place. So it's very easy for people to say the government is useless and police are useless and everything would be perfect if we got rid of all that shit, until you go someplace where it's been gotten rid of, or it gets rid of where you live, and then you have to file as a fucking refugee and flee the country, because then you're like, oh, actually, no, people are pretty fucking brutal, and left to their own devices, this shit can go real wrong. Like Russia used to be a superpower. Now they're less than 7% the GDP of the United States. How do you think that happened? Is it because they don't have enough land or resources? No. They have more gas in the United States. They have fucking like twice the land. They're like a sixth of the entire global land mass. 1/6 of it, right? Their country got fucked because their system got fucked. If your system is fucked, you and all of your nice, happy, good people will get fucked, right? Like, you can't throw away the best system that mankind has ever found, which is capitalism for wants and socialism for needs. There's a lot of countries on this planet that do better than America does in almost everything, but people don't want to admit it, right? They don't want to be like, oh, look, Japan has zero gun deaths, and almost everywhere has zero gun deaths. Well, we have people shooting up concerts from elevated positions a few hundred meters in the air with 12 to 1400 round bounce stock M16s or equivalent. Some of them could fire more than one type of ammo. So that shit doesn't happen most places, right? And he bought all those guns legally. But we can't fix it. It's unfixable. Like, we just can't. No one else has got it figured out. And if we tried to fix it, it just wouldn't possibly work. Well, it worked in Australia. They had a guy that had a big fucking shootout. He was armored up with armor and shot a lot of people. And then they were like, all right, fuck all this gun stuff. And they just got rid of all the guns. And then they don't have that shit anymore. They don't have school shootings. Ever. Never. Well, it worked for them.
Well, yeah. The government is really top heavy, right? Like the government in Australia, I mean, I don't know.
No,
See,
not.
like,
I lived in Australia.
We could talk
No, it's
about
not.
right? Like they have pretty heavy surveillance. I hear taxes
No, they don't.
pretty high. I mean, they don't.
They don't have heavy surveillance. No, because they don't have much crime. They have fucked up laws on key disclosure, which they just passed. They have fucked up laws on crypto. They've got, some fucked up laws, but for the most part, like, who do you think's doing more surveillance of you? The NSA or some kangaroo folk? Like, there ain't no fucking comparison, right? Like, you're being spied on by the NSA and a whole shitload of other people, like, constantly. Like, their society runs very, very fucking well. There's the branch of science called sociology that studies this shit, and it's all they do all day long is trying to figure out who's winning the game, who's getting better outcomes for their citizens, and America is not leading the charts in most of these things.
They're not. But I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we could discuss as to why they're not doing that well, and I think there's some evidence that they're doing better now, and it may be because of Trump, or it may be because of a variety of things. And again, I'm actually interested in this discussion. We could have it, but it's a discussion that would take multiple hours.
Yeah, you're right.
I do think that
we'll save it for later.
I mean, the constitutional argument to me is still good in the United States. Like, you have guns not because there isn't a risk that somebody's going to go crazy, but because in case that the government becomes tyrannical, then what do you do? Because the moment that happens in Australia, like at any moment, who knows, right? Like maybe some political movement in Australia might go rogue, and then they go full Nazi or commie, and everybody's unarmed, right? And that's when it really matters. And those blips only occur in a very long periods of time, so it breaks the paradox, right? Yep. But in the middle, So
I'll give you. I'm proud of the ideas that I invented and haven't heard of before. So one of those ideas is that the 30,000 extra gun deaths a year in the United States is actually maybe a global net win, because it is an insurance policy against tyranny, and because America is so powerful that tyranny in that actor would be devastating to all other actors.